do is I like to create folders to build my workflows in, just to keep everything really tidy. And so in this case, the first workflow I'm going to show you how to build is just an appointment confirmation and reminder sequence. And so I'm going to create a folder, and I'm just going to call it, appointments for now. So appointments, and now I know that all the workflows in here have to do with people booking appointments. So now I'm going to click into that folder, and now I can click create workflow in the top right. So I'm click create workflow. Now there are recipes, and these are fine to use, especially as you're learning. But for now, I'm going to start from scratch so I can show you how to build one from the ground up. So I'm going to click start from scratch, and I'm going to click create new workflow like that. And here we are now ready to build a workflow. So as a real big overview, workflows are campaigns and triggers combined into a sequential order of events. And that might be confusing, but you'll see what I mean as we start to build it out. And the best way to think, to start building workflows, to think, what exactly is it that I'm trying to do? What's the overall goal here? So in this case, the overall goal is that whenever somebody books in my calendar, I want to send them a confirmation email, and then I want to send them reminder texts or emails leading up to the appointment, because I want to reduce no-shows, right? That's the idea. That's, I don't know about y'all, but no-shows are the plague of my existence. I spend time getting ready for the appointment, and then they don't show up, and it drives me crazy. So it is proven that having a really robust follow-up sequence and reminder sequence just reduces no-shows. So that's what we're going to do. And so I like to name my workflow based on the overall goal here. So I'm going to say this is an appointment confirmation and reminder workflow. That's the point of this. Now, you might have 10 calendars eventually, right? You might have 20 calendars. And so then you'd want to name specifically the calendar that you're talking about at the top. Right now, I'm just going to keep it generic. I'm just going to keep it appointment. And so I have that named. Now, the first thing that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to decide what the trigger is. And you can have more than one trigger, but to keep it simple, we're just going to start with one for now. And you can think of the trigger as the key to the door. This is what allows a contact into the workflow, into the automations. You are shaping the key. The key can be all kinds of things. It can be that they filled out a form. It could be that you added a tag to their profile. It could be that they booked an appointment in your calendar. Those are all different examples of the types of triggers that can launch an automation. In this case, we're just going to say appointment booked. That's going to be the name of it. Now, the workflow trigger types, I'm going to say 99% of the time, you're going to stick with CRM. The other 1% is probably going to be for those of you who run Facebook lead ads, because you can trigger automations whenever somebody submits a form that's in a lead ad that you have. And so you can see that's an option here. You would click Facebook. And then also, if you have a Shopify account, you can also trigger automations for somebody purchases in your Shopify store. You can send out like a confirmation email and like a thank you and a follow-up sequence, that kind of thing. But again, 99% of the time, you're going to be using CRM. So that's what we're going to stick with. So I'm going to click CRM here, and I'm going to go down to choose a workflow trigger. And again, this is where we're deciding what the key is going to be that's going to allow the contact into the workflow. And we're going to go over more of these next week. As you can see, there's a ton of them. And there's even more. I know last week when we went over the membership area, you can see there's even more here where you can set up automations based on, did they finish a certain category? Then you can send them an email that says, hey, I saw you finish this category. Make sure to check out next week's category, whatever it is. But again, for now, we're going to keep it easy. And we'll go over most of these next week. And so I'm just going to stick with the appointment. So I'm going to stay here at the top, appointment, because that's my goal here. Is I want the trigger to be whenever somebody books an appointment with me. But then I have to add a filter, because again, you might have 10 calendars, you might have 20. So I'm going to click select. I'm going to say is in calendar here. And I'm going to specify, and we're going to go with the strategy call calendar. I believe that was the calendar I set up earlier a couple of weeks ago. So I'm going to click strategy call calendar. That's going to be the calendar I'm going to set it up in. And then I'm going to add another filter, actually, because I want this appointment sequence, this reminder and confirmation sequence, to only go out to people who have a confirmed status. Like if they cancel, if they reschedule, if they no show, I don't want them to be a part of this workflow. So I'm going to add another filter that says appointment status is, and then I'm going to say confirmed. So I want, now in my calendar, I have it built to where it auto confirms as soon as they book. So that just makes it to where when they book, they're going to be added to this workflow. And so then I'm going to click save trigger here in the bottom right. And there we go. Now our trigger is built. We have shaped the key to the door. And now whenever somebody books in that calendar, they're going to be entered into this workflow. And now we have to decide what's going to happen when they enter into the workflow. And so there's a bunch of different things that you can do. I'm going to show you a handful of them. First, I'm going to click this add your first action button here. And you can see that the different actions are broken down into categories. First one being external communications. And so this is all the stuff that's going out to the person who booked, out to your users, out to your clients. And you can see all the different options: send email, send SMS. You can have it automatically dial them from the system here whenever they enter. You can do voicemail drops. Now you have to pre-record those, but you can do voicemail drops of you can record like an evergreen type voicemail that says, hey, and you don't say their name, but hey, like, so excited for our appointment. I'll see you soon. Something simple like that, whatever. Facebook Messenger, Instagram DM. These are manual notifications that can go out to people like other users in your account, like employees that you have, so that they get a task. When somebody books here, I want you to call or text that person manually. And then this is Google My Business messaging. And then below here is the CRM. Now I'm not going to go through all these because there's a ton of them, but the CRM, that's everything happening internally. That helps you to stay organized, helps you to know what the next step is for each contact, and helps you just keep track of everything. So you can see like a lot of the big ones are going to be add tag, remove tag, create update opportunity. That's how you can automatically move them throughout a pipeline without having to manually go drag them through a pipeline, and so forth. You can see all the different options here. It gets down to like the booking bot. So Google is super awesome, and they made their API for Eliza, which is their booking bot, available to the public for free. And so we're able to integrate it here. And so you can actually set up like a bot that has conversations with people that tries to get them to book an appointment with you, which is pretty neat. And so a whole bunch of different options here. Facebook options for, again, if you are running like Facebook lead ads, that kind of thing. Membership actions for the membership sites that you might create. And then the conditions and workflows, that's going to be the really important part. Specifically these two, if, else, and wait. You're going to be using those a lot. Webhooks, if you are wanting to use something like Zapier, then you can send out webhooks to Zapier to then launch other automations that you might, like if you wanted somebody like this person's information to be added to a Google Sheet in your Google Drive somewhere, you could send out a webhook to Zapier and it adds their information to a Google Sheet. That's an example of what you could do. And this go-to is just moving them to another action within the workflow. So that's just a quick overview of this. Again, this can seem overwhelming and like too much until you start building and doing it yourself. And so now I'm just going to build out what this confirmation sequence could look like. And then next week, we'll build out some more like elaborate ones so you can see how awesome this can be and how easy it can make your life. So first I'm going to scroll up and I'm going to say that I want to immediately send them an email as soon as they book an appointment, like to confirm their appointment. So I'm going to click send email. The email is going to be from Adam. It's going to be Adam at, we'll do the demoaccount.com. And the subject is going to be, in fact, I'm going to get fancy with it. I'm going to pull custom value. I'm going to explain these a little bit more here in just a second. I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to bring it up here. And I'm going to say your appointment is confirmed. So there we go. So I have the subject here. Now, if this is an email that you're going to be sending out constantly, you can create it once as a template and then just add it into all the different workflows, right? That's something like a confirmation email. That's probably something you want to do. But I haven't created that template yet, so I'm just going to create it from scratch here. And you can do that here in the message body. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say hi and then contact first name. So the nice thing about the calendars within the system here is that they are required to put in their information to book an appointment. So the system's going to automatically know their name, their email, their phone, that type of thing. So it'll pull in their first name here, and it's going to just seem like a more personalized email. So hi, contact first name, and I'm going to say your appointment for, and then I'm also going to pull in the appointment start date time. So it's going to pull in the day and the time of when their appointment is. So I'm going to click custom values, and I'm going to go to appointment, which, by the way, contact is them, user is you. It's a good way to remember it. Contact them, user you. So user, this would be all of your information, all the information that's in your profile. That's what all of this is. All of this contact information is all the information they've given you. If they haven't given you their date of birth yet and you try to put that in there, it would just be blank in the email. So I'm going to come down here to appointment, and I'm going to go to start date time. You can see all the different things. You can add like a specific time zone. You can add rescheduling links, when the appointment's supposed to end, that type of thing. But in this case, I'm just going to say start date time. So your appointment for, and it'll pull in the day and time, is confirmed, right? And then from there, you can add in whatever other information that you want them to know, right? If you have instructions before the appointment, whatever else you want to do, add that in. But I'm just going to say, see you soon. And then I'm going to add my user signature. That's my email signature there. Again, you can create your email signature just in your profile, and then you can just add the custom value here every time. Or there's actually an option within your profile. You just click a button that automatically adds your email signature to every email you send out from the system. So that's another easy way to do that. Cool. So you can also add attachments if you want to. You can test the email on yourself first, but I'll show you a better way to test overall. So I'm going to click Save Action. A quick note about saving. So as you can see, I saved the action and it popped up an email here, which actually I need to name this so I can know what this is. So I'm going to say confirmation email. There we go. Confirmation email. And I saved it, right? So you save once within the action, but then you save overall here in the top right. That's really important to know because I've spent like an hour building out a workflow once, and I saved everything here. And then I was, had one of those gaps, where I forgot what I was doing and didn't save overall and just closed out the window and lost all that work. And that was the only time I've done that because it was so painful. So I, always make sure to save twice here. So it sends out the confirmation email, but then let's say I want to do a couple of like internal things. Maybe I want to add a contact tag to them so that I know they booked an appointment. So I don't think there's a booked tag, so I'm just going to create one. So booked. So that tag doesn't exist yet, but as you can see, I typed it here and I can just click this add new tag. And there we go, booked. So that will automatically add that tag to the profile. And then let's say I want to move them to a certain stage of a pipeline. So I can click plus, I can click create update opportunity, and I can select the pipeline I want to add them to. And so let's say it's the strategy call. We'll do strategy call and application pipeline. And then here we go. Actually, this is perfect stage, scheduled strategy session. Great. So whenever they book here, I want them to move to the scheduled strategy session stage of the pipeline. So I'm gonna click save action. And there you go. You can even get, like, let's say you have somebody in a nurture sequence in a separate workflow, which the whole point of the nurture sequence is trying to get them to book an appointment with you. You could then say, whenever they book here, I want to, and you could come down to remove from workflow, and you could choose that other nurture sequence because you don't want to keep emailing or texting someone to book an appointment with you when they just booked, right? That could be obnoxious. And so that's another thing you can do. But in order to keep it simple, we'll just stop here for the internal things. But then let's say I want to wait until 24 hours before the appointment and I want to send them a text message reminding them, hey, we have a call tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down here to wait. I'm going to click the wait button. And there's a couple different types of waits that you can do. The two primary ones are going to be time delay and event appointment time. Time delay is where you just choose a set amount of time that you want to wait for before it goes to the next action. It could be 1 minute. It could be 1 month if you wanted it to be. Event appointment time, the wait is going to be based on the whatever the event appointment time is. In this case, the wait will be based on when they booked their call with you. So I'm going to click event appointment time, and it's already on before, which is great. So I want to wait until before. I'm going to change this to 24 and then hours. That's what I want. And I do keep this checked because this just says skip all outbound communications or communication actions till next wait or event start date application action. Gosh, I can't read. So that just basically means, let's say that they booked a time that's 12 hours from now. Well, then it's pointless to send them a text message that says, hey, see you tomorrow if they booked for 12 hours from now. And so I just want to skip that text message at that point. That's what this is. So I'm gonna click save action, and you can see now there's a wait here, and so the system is gonna wait until 24 hours before the time that they booked. Then I have to decide what do I want it to do after that wait is done. So I'm gonna click the plus sign, and I'm gonna send them a text message, and I'll do the same thing. Hi, contact, first name, see you tomorrow. In real life, you probably want to make it a little more robust than that, but for the sake of demonstration, it's good enough. So click save action. There we go. And now, let's say I want to do the same thing, but I want to send a reminder 1 hour before. Then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come down here, click plus, go down to wait, and I'm going to do event appointment time as the wait time before, and then this time I'm going to do 1 hour. Wait until 1 hour before, and then send another text message. See you in an hour. All right. And again, if I should be renaming all of these so I can, like, when I come back and look in this workflow later, if like something breaks, I need to fix it, I can know exactly what each of these actions is doing. That would be best practice. And I'm going to save overall on the top right. But for the sake of demonstration, just so I can show you what it looks like. But hopefully now you can see what I mean by the sequential order of events. In other words, this is the key to the door. Whenever they book the appointment, they're allowed into the workflow, and then they just follow these actions down the ladder. So they immediately get a confirmation email, a contact tag added to the profile, and they are moved through to the next stage of the pipeline. Then they wait until 24 hours before, then they receive a text message. Wait, and then until 1 hour before, and then receive a text message. And then the little checkered flag at the end here at the bottom, that just means that's the end of the workflow for them. They're done. So that's how you could create like a text message or an email. And so using these waits, you can build out months worth of nurture. So you could, hire a copywriter to write you, or if you're a good copywriter yourself, you could write like 12 emails ahead of time. So you can have a monthly newsletter that you send out, but you set it all up in one day, right? These wait times would just be wait 30 days, then send out the next email, wait 30 days, send out the next email. So you can build out a really nice, robust nurture sequence that, as soon as the contact gets added to your profile, or if they subscribe to something, the action could just be like contact tag subscribed, and then they're added to that sequence. And so this is just a way to make your life a lot easier. But then, of course, you're going to want to test this on yourself. And so there's a couple ways that you can test. One is that you can see up here in the top right, there's a test workflow button. And what I generally recommend is that until everything is built correctly, keep it on draft mode. You can see that there's a draft published little toggle switch here. Keep it on draft mode until it's good to go. Now, in this case, in order to actually test it, what I'm going to need to do is publish it and then actually book myself in this calendar. Because these wait times here are based on an event appointment time. And if I don't actually book a time in this calendar, the system's not going to know an event appointment time, and it just kind of ends after this initial sequence here. And so if you build a workflow where the waits are based on an event appointment time, then you actually need to test it out by going to fill out, like, book an appointment in a calendar, that type of thing. One other thing to note here is another reason why these waits are so important. It's a mistake I see a lot, is people forget to put in the waits, and what's going to happen, and this is why you test it. Without these waits, all of these actions would just happen at once, immediately. So they would receive a confirmation email, a text message, and another text message all at once, because the system doesn't know to wait. So that's why the waits are so important. I've seen people set up like a month's worth of nurture and forget to put in the waits, and then they accidentally emailed like 400 contacts, 12 emails all at the same time, and they actually got flagged for spam, and it was the whole thing. So always make sure these waits are added in the system. Another thing that's important for testing to note, and we'll go more over, just because I can see we're running low on time, I want to make sure we have time for questions. We'll go more over these features next week, but in the settings, make sure that allow multiple is turned on for when you're testing. Now in real life, like whenever it's actually ready to go, if you don't want your contacts to be able to go through a workflow multiple times, then come back here and turn it off. But for testing, you want it on because let's say you test and you notice there was a mistake. And so you go back and fix it, and then you want to test it on yourself again. Well, if you have allow multiple turned off, then when you test on yourself again, you won't be allowed to go through the workflow again. It'll stop you from going through it unless you create a new contact profile. So that's why you want to have that on.